Andy, I have honestly spent the last 27 years like hardening myself to just disappointment. And I felt I was there, like I had guarded myself. I had put up all the layers. I had put in all the caveats to all my arguments. And yet yesterday sucked more than anything I've encountered in 27 years. This was the worst loss that I can recall as a Cowboys fan. And I'm still angry about it. For those who don't know, we have a YouTube channel, Men of a Certain X. Go to YouTube, like and subscribe. I posted a rant there. It went about 5 minutes. I just in that I did it in the middle of the fourth quarter. The game wasn't even over, and I was just done. Andy, I don't know how to cope. I just don't know. Maybe I need to become a Detroit Lions fan.
Dave, the Lions welcome you. The bandwagon has room. I've got hats and jerseys galore. Come on over, man. You've been in an abusive relationship for way too long. Jerry Jones has been wronging you for decades. Mike McCarthy is absolutely horrible. He will be fired, Dave. Mike McCarthy will be fired next
We don't
week.
know that, Andy. We don't know that.
He's gone. He's gone. And I think Jerry might want to move beyond Dak too. To be honest with you, he might be on the trading block. But I I, I I can't say I felt bad for you or Cowboys fans because I absolutely loved it. I found myself in the awkward position of cheering on the Green Bay Packers with gusto. But, your feelings aside, watching Dallas get punched in the mouth over and over again in Dallas after the theft of a game against the Lions, it was glorious. I mean, I'm sorry for your pain, but not really. I loved every minute of it. It was hilarious. So hey, good luck against San Fran Packers. Good luck there.
So what's funnier, Andy? Is it look, I honestly don't know that Jerry Jones will fire Mike McCarthy. Like I
You
don't
should
know if
hire
that's
Mike Zimmer. He should hire Mike.
I know they should have hired Mike Zimmer. Yeah, like I don't know that for absolutely, but to your other point, like the headline is Dak backs McCarthy. Like Dak, you sucked yesterday.
Ride and die together, baby. They've
Like
put in three playoffs together in a row. Those ride and die together.
Dak is 2-5 in the playoffs. McCarthy is 1-3. I mean, with the Cowboys. Okay, we need to just go, Andy. Let's talk about something positive. Let's talk about your team. I was usually I'm in bed by 8:30 on but usually I'm in bed early. I decided to stay up and watch this game because it was good.
Yeah,
And kudos to your Lions. And you know who I feel really good about? Jared Goff.
yeah.
When they needed him to make a play, they needed one more first down. It was right out of the 2 minute warning. They need one more first down to kill the clock, and they come out with a gutsy call on and get a key conversion. End of the game. I'm very happy for Jared Goff. Look, I was happy for Matt Stafford to go to LA and win a Super Bowl, but I'm also like Jared Goff needed some love too. Today he got some. How are you feeling today, Andy?
Dave, I'll be honest with you. I think for Lions fans, I mean, this was an incredible story. The whole idea of playing Matt Stafford and the Rams, Jared Goff facing off against Sean McVay, Josh Reynolds playing against the Rams, who Josh Reynolds went off in the first half. I mean, it was such a like scripted, dramatic game. And for the Lions to win it the way they did, it was a close game. The Lions took the lead and never looked back, but it was scarily close, throughout the Rams kept on knocking. And for that last, significant play, Dan Campbell dialing it up for Jared Goff, putting trust in his quarterback, who was just so wrecked after being traded from the Rams. That last year was just so brutal. Getting the ball in Amon-Ra St. Brown's hands, him to making that turn, pushing forward for the first down. Like, it was just an absolutely huge win, not just for those guys, for the franchise, for the fans. I mean, the last time the Lions hosted a home playoff game, I was a sophomore in high school. I mean, I'm 47 years old. This has been a long time coming. It was a great game. I was texting with one of my sons the entire game. We were just sort of celebrating the way it was going and also making a lot of fun of the Cowboys. But it was an incredible game. I'm so happy for the franchise. I'm so happy for the city of Detroit. So happy for all the Lions fans. Yeah, Jared Goff deserved it. And it's super exciting right now. The Lions are about to host a second game, playing either the Bucks or the Eagles, very winnable game potentially, and they could be back in the NFC Championship, which is hard to believe from where this franchise was just a couple years ago. Hats off to Sheila Hemp Ford for Brad Holmes, who's done an incredible job. Dan Campbell. This has just been an incredible year. It's still hard to fully absorb it, but I'm loving it. It was a great victory. It was a great game. I'm looking forward. I haven't had a chance to look into the locker room speeches and comments. I'm going to dive into all that today and just really enjoy it because it's a monumental win for those that don't pay attention to football or the Lions. This is a really significant win for this franchise. It was great. It was great to see. I'm excited for what comes next. But I'll tell you, I had three hopes for the Lions this year. I said, win the North, win a home playoff game, and make a run. And they're going to fight in this next game. They've done two of those things. If they have to go and put on a really good fight in this next game, and they've had that alone is a great season. But they've got a legitimate chance in an NFC that's absolutely bonkers, with an AFC where the Browns, who we thought were going to make a big run, get wrecked by the Texans. This thing's wide open, and I think the Lions have a real shot here. So it's super exciting, Dave.
Yeah, it is interesting. Look, I'm extremely happy for the city of Detroit. It's a downtrodden city. It's very depressed at this point. Well, I think it's rebounding a little
Oh
bit
yeah,
now,
oh yeah,
and they're up and coming. I mean, this team was 0-16. They hired Dan Campbell, and everybody was joking on him and goofing on him. And here you go. Now everyone's eating crow. Because look, it's just I'm very happy for them. And I think, look, if I'm looking at franchises, I know between the Cowboys and the Lions since 1995, 96 season, uh, uh, there's not much of a difference here, except one team proclaims to be the America's team, and they're the most popular franchise around the world. I mean, maybe the Yankees, the Red Sox are up there pretty, but like the Cowboys are, they put their chests out and they
yeah.
have nothing to back it up with for 27 years. They haven't even made it to the NFC Championship game, which is just an atrocity. And yet the status quo continues there. But then in Detroit, you have a team like a hardworking team, a lunch pail team. Like Dan Campbell's an inspiration,
Yeah.
and I think it's exciting to see. Now, I mean, so good on the Lions. I mean, Andy, the rest of our predictions were kind of weird on the Friday or the Saturday games too. I
Yeah.
mean, we had the Brown. You mentioned the Browns got waxed by a very good Texans team. Now,
Yeah.
again, another team. I saw another
Great,
stat.
great story. Best team in Texas. I mean,
Yep.
they're a great story.
Well, since the Texans came into the league, they've got more playoff wins than the Cowboys do. I'm seeing all the Cowboy memes today.
Yeah.
Look, I've seen it all, and guess what? They're all right, and,
Yeah.
and they're all accurate. But the Texans look really good. They have a promising future with a promising coach, something the Cowboys don't have. And then you have, Kansas City survived what was like a freaking crazy game. Did you see the things with the water froze?
Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. Insta freeze. Yeah. It was unbelievable. I was cold watching the videos. I mean, that was
Yeah.
miserable. Yeah. I mean, listen, the Texans, I mean, what a great story, right? I mean, Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, by the way, incredible the fact those two guys had such similar numbers in their games, right? But I mean, they almost didn't make the playoffs. Then they made it in. Then they ended up winning the division. Then they ended up beating the Cleveland Browns, who were playing top tier football, right? You and I are both ranking them maybe second or third in the league. A huge win for that team. I mean, and they're a threat. I mean, they're a dangerous team,
Yeah.
and they're only going to get better. I mean, it's a young team, a young coach. They've got a very bright future in what a division that, like the NFC North, went from being terrible to potentially being a really strong division in the next couple of years here. So they were fun to watch. There's some more football to be played today. Two big games with Steelers at Buffalo and Eagles at Bucks. There's still a lot to figure out, but it's been a great 2024 playoff season so far, and the storylines continue. So congratulations to Browns. I'm sorry to Texans fans who, with their victory over the Browns, right, to beat Deshaun Watson's team. A lot of great storylines in that too, right? I mean, that's a big win for that team. And the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Look, Buffalo's going to win today. They're going to host the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to beat them. That's as well scripted as the Cowboys losing in the playoffs, right? So I'm looking forward to that because I think it's funny. So I've got no skin in that game. But David, it's we could talk football all day. We've probably got to pace it out over the week. We'll talk, I'm sure, some more Wednesday after Monday's games as the playoff picture lines up. But my condolences, not really, to you and Cowboys Nation. I loved it, and to my fellow Lions fans. I'll be consuming podcasts and stories for the whole week, and just this is something to celebrate. And I've got to, my sons were. I think my sons were happier for me than they've been about anything I've ever enjoyed in my life. I think they both so enthusiastic. Were like, congratulations. It was Lions fans really appreciate this, I think. So it's a good Monday morning, and Dave, it's a good Martin Luther King Jr. holiday Monday morning. So happy holiday! A great chance to celebrate an important person in America's history, and along with the Lions win, things to be cheering about today.
There we go. Thank you. It is good. It is Martin Luther King holiday today, so definitely take the time to remember what this day should be about. I do. We will talk more football during the week. I think it's interesting. There's that movie Moneyball, and there's a big conflict between the old school guys and the new school guys, and there's a big confrontation between Brad Pitt's character Billy Bean and the head scout, and it gets to the point where he says, you say but you don't know, and you don't know any more than anyone else. And I think about all the pundits; they were goofing on the Lions for Dan Campbell and the Jared Goff pick,
Yeah,
stuff. And look at what that amounted to. The Jared Goff trade amounted to 7 players that are key contributors on
excellent
that
players. Yeah,
team.
yeah.
And then you look at the Houston Texans, they were last year, they won their last game of the season, which cost them the number 1 draft pick. And everyone was thought the sky was falling. And next thing you know, they've got CJ Stroud, who, look, I don't know what Carolina's future is going to hold, but Bryce Young may not be all that great, but here they are. They're going to make a run here. So, Andy, let's flip to something
Dave, let
different.
me, let me make one more comment before I lose it, if I could. Just
Yeah.
just on the Rams, like I think an important topic that needs to be addressed. Jared Goff got a lot of this shit for the Rams losing a Super Bowl game. He didn't play a good game, and that was part of the heartbreak in LA for that team. But watching Sean McVay coach yesterday, he is
He's good.
smart young man, a talented coach. But listen, he is so conservative. He was coaching as though he had the balls the size of an ant. He would not take a chance. He would not go for it on
Yeah.
fourth. He would not do anything that was in any way a risk. He's got an incredibly talented team, right? I mean, Puka Nakua is an absolute monster of a man. And Stafford, I mean, I still love the guy. He played a great game. He was playing, I mean, he showed his toughness. He was in pain. He would not take a chance. Sean McVay would not take it. If he had just gone for it on fourth one time, don't take the field goal, put it in the end zone, trust your team, they might have won that game. But
Yeah.
but he is so conservative. Like that really holds back that team. If he can't break that, they will not have success again in today's NFL. And they really got to figure that out. He's got to pull his sack out, play and coach football like a man. He's got to own it. He's got talent. He's capable. He's smart, and I mean he's a really talented coach. You got to loosen it up a little bit. Watch a little bit of Dan Campbell football. Mike Tirico made the comment yesterday that the entire stadium is fourth down territory for Dan Campbell, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He gets a little bit, scary at times, taking some chances, but you got to sometimes be willing to put it out there. Sean McVay's got to take some lessons learned from this. He's got to learn how to take a chance. You can't play that conservative in the NFL today. And by God, man, you've got incredible talent on that team. Let him run wild. Let him go loose. Puka Nakua is absolutely freaking awesome. Now that game is over and they lost. That guy's amazing, right?
Yeah.
He could be the best receiver in the NFL in a couple of years. He might already be. I don't know, but Dave, just to put that out there. Sorry, ready to move.
No, he is. I mean, the Puka was amazing. I mean, he made weird, crazy catches, and then he kept running. I mean, he had more yards after the catch than probably air yards yesterday. And I think it's interesting. The to your point about being conservative, I mean, that's you can't be aggressive 95% of the time and then choose to be conservative that last. Like you got to go all or nothing. I don't always agree with Dan Campbell. I think he sometimes has cost his team points, especially against the Cowboys, choosing to go for it on 4th and 7 when he could have kicked the field goal and that would have been the difference. But at the same time, that's who he is. Everyone knows it, and he doesn't back down from that. So, all right, Andy, let's move on to politics because today is another big day, Andy, in
God
frigid
bless. Yeah.
Iowa. There is Iowa caucuses today, and big day for a lot of people. What are your thoughts today on the caucus? Where do you think we'll wind up here?
So I mean, there's a lot to dive into there. So one, I mean, at the end of the day, like no big shockers, right? I mean, Iowa is going to be cold and miserable. God bless Iowa voters who are willing to go and endure this mess. It's going to be awful. Like so thank you, Iowa, for your willingness to be America's sacrificial lamb in politics. It's awful out there. So hopefully there's no serious like injuries or anything. It's going to be really really painfully cold. Two, I think we're going to see what we expect to see, right? I think Donald Trump will win the majority of votes. I think it'll be interesting to see who wins, Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis. I think they'll both paint a good picture, whatever happens, unless there's like a shockingly bad performance. And I think we'll move on to New Hampshire pretty quickly here as the season starts rolling. I'm not expecting any big shocks coming out of this. Yeah, I think we can talk endorsements a little bit, and got some thoughts there. But and for me on the general thing, I think we kind of knew where this was going to go. I think it will be interesting to see what happens with second and third, and by how much Trump wins. But with the cold variable, it really does change things quite a bit because it just changes who's willing to come out and vote. And it's Iowa is not indicative of where the country is. So it's a interesting event, but not necessarily an indicator of where things are going to go. The winner in Iowa often goes on to lose quickly, and so it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I think New Hampshire is a little bit more interesting, and then really, going forward from there is going to be really where things play out.
Yeah, I agree. Everything you said. We make this a story because there is no other story. I mean, this is what it is. Iowa and New Hampshire are one and two. The Democrats have changed that up by moving South Carolina to their forefront for their part. But you're right, Andy. When you talked about endorsements and such, we did see some political maneuvering a little bit these last couple of days. Larry Hogan, the former Republican governor of Maryland, who had a very successful, uh, I guess, tenure there. He was working with the No Labels Party. That's
Yeah.
that third party that was working to try to bring about viable candidates to the third party scene. He had previously resigned in mid-December. It just came out recently, but he resigned in mid-December from his position there. And I think he's making an endorsement to Nikki Haley, which would align. I think that would make sense if you're Larry Hogan. I think it makes sense for everything that he's talked about. He's very popular on CNN and some of the other news channels about being against the party of Trump, and so it would seem to make sense that he would fall in line. I think it does also show where the party is going. This one-on-one matchup between Nikki Haley and Donald Trump. So, what thoughts on Larry Hogan's actions?
Yeah, I mean, look, Larry Hogan's a likable enough, former governor, right? A Republican who well governed a state I love to make fun of in Maryland. Interesting for him to step down from the low labels effort. I think again, you're seeing more and more people come around to the idea that hey, maybe they need to really galvanize behind Nikki Haley and try and in Republicans' minds rid the party of the menace of Donald Trump. Interesting to see. I think endorsements really don't matter, right? Just like playoff experience in the NFL, I don't think it matters. I don't think anybody cares that Larry Hogan endorsed. Nobody's vote is changing because Larry Hogan endorsed Nikki Haley, right? Nobody's like, oh man, I got to follow Larry. Maybe his wife. I mean, but like nobody cares about endorsements. Really, it's interesting to see. It's something to talk about, but like really, who gives a shit? I mean, like great, Larry Hogan, great job, cool, I guess, but like nobody cares. But interesting to see. I mean, it is interesting to see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be this. I don't think there will be surprises today. I mean, we'll it'll be close between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. I just don't think DeSantis has anything more after this. I mean, he'll probably make it to New Hampshire, but he's not. I mean, it's well documented about his financing. There's well documented about defections within his campaign. This really is coming down to that one-on-one matchup we were talking about. So I don't think there'll be any surprises. It will be interesting to see the fallout from today. I mean, the spinsters will be in full effect tomorrow. They'll all be claiming victory, and then they'll all move on to New Hampshire, and we'll forget about Iowa and their four electoral votes or whatnot. So not say anything against the people of Iowa. Would love the people of Iowa. It just weird how that all plays into this election cycle. Okay, Andy, wrapping up for today. It's been a very emotional day for me as well, so I'm trying to still recover. But New Music Friday.
Yeah.
So I was in. How was it? Did you get what you wanted, or?
Dave, when we talked on Friday, I had just sort of like cracked open things. I knew the Black Keys had a new album coming out or new song coming out. I was excited about that, but hadn't really had a chance to dive into everything. There was a lot of really great music. I mean, as I went down, one, you got to come back to this and discuss the Black Crowes at another time, maybe. But the Black Crowes released their first single, new single, in 15 years. It's good. It's got all the wonderful Southern rock sound that the Black Crowes were famous for. I've got a whole rant on the Crows at some point, but that song's great. It was great to hear. I used to love that band in high school and college, and it was good to hear them come back. And then some fun new music. There's a band coming out of California called Silver Bullet that released their first single, good rock and roll. You can check that out on Spotify. And then I stumbled upon a French rock and roll song, and I was like, what is this nonsense? And it was great. It was a lot of fun. So I had a great new music weekend. I was enjoying a lot of it. They're on my current tunes playlist. I'm enjoying it. So it was great. And that Black Keys song, man, it is awesome. Their music is so like you just want to walk and you feel cool when you're walking and listening to the Black Keys. And this new song, Beautiful People, it's more of that. I was walking my dogs, I'm listening to it. I'm like, I'm the coolest guy out here right now because you just feel cool listening to the Black Keys. It's always awesome. That one of my favorite three things out of Ohio. So Dave, what about you? What did you stumble upon here?
So I went a little backwards, Andy, and so like I had been, I was like I have to check out some of this new stuff. I'll admit I haven't. I had my groups. I stopped following probably early 2000s, and so I'm not aware of the new groups out there. Like my kids would they just had a different style than what I wanted to listen
Yeah,
to. A lot of the kids do. And I tried to get them into some of the music, but so I went. It was not successful. I still can't get them into U2 or whatever. But I will tell you, I was listening to something or other, and I don't know if you'll remember this song, but it's "Hands to Heaven" by Breathe, and like most people will not recognize the name of the song, but if you hear it, you will. And it just was a classic, like mid '80s song, and I was like, I felt inspired by that song. I was like, I love that song when I
yeah,
heard it. It takes me back to those mid '80s. And so instead of going like hair band, like rock ballad
yeah,
stuff that
yeah.
that we all love. I mean, Def Leppard and all the great hair bands, Poison and
Right.
stuff.
Glam rock, baby.
Yeah, I mean Warrant and all those other groups. I went like soft stuff. So I pulled in Journey, I pulled in Betty Davis Eyes, I
Oh,
pulled
great.
in the Bangles, like not the hard Bangles Walk Like an Egyptian, but like Manic Monday or
Yeah,
Eternal Flame. I went like it was I don't know, I was great. Air Supply was 70s and stuff,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like I wanted that, like kind of made me reminiscent of a different time. And so I'm still building it out. Belinda Carlisle, we'll get some
Yeah.
Go-Go's on there. We'll get some other groups in there, but it's not going to be the hair ballad. So I'm moving through this playlist, Andy. I'm adding songs as I come across them, but I just felt I really needed that at that point in time, Andy. So that's where I went on Friday.
That's a great place to jump into. And I started building an '80s playlist. It's kind of a similar sort of vibe. I think I have some Billy Idol on there, but same thing, some Pat Benatar, some other music, and some Go-Go's, and like it's a lot of fun, great music. It's still fun to listen to,
Yeah.
nostalgic and enjoyable. I didn't get very far in my playlist. I should go back and work on that some more because there's a lot of great tunes, from that era. Some that I was super young for, but still grew up listening to and enjoying. Those are all good songs, good music. I mean, the Bengals were a lot of fun. There's a lot of just gems in there that are older now, and some of them are forgotten, but so fun to listen to. So I commend you on your '80s throwback moments. Celebrate it, Dave. The glam bands are great. The pop music was great. We can't break my stride. I mean, there's just so much to enjoy from
Yeah.
that era. So I commend you. I look forward to listening to your '80s playlist.
I might have to share it with you, Andy. So yeah, so let's wrap up for today, Andy. Utterly disappointed still. I'm still probably not going to be. Look, I swear, Andy, I had guarded myself so well about this disappointment, but the way this game unfolded,
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyways, go to our YouTube channel if you want to see my full rant. I go through the playoff misery from 1996 on.
classic, Dave. It's classic.
I mean, there's so many things in there, and yet there's one constant Jerry Jones, and we'll wind up in the same place we wind up in before. Next year, Andy, I don't want to hear one thing about the Cowboys until they've won into the NFC Championship. I don't care if they're 16 or 17 and 0. They still are number 30th ranked because they cannot do it in the playoffs. So that's where I'm at, Andy.
I'm sorry, Dave, but hey, celebration of the Lions. One Pride was blowing up on threads yesterday. It was fun to see all the fans celebrating. So good luck to you moving forward here with the you know um, Cowboys in your future. I'm sorry for what you experienced, but hey, we
You're
got a
not
lot to look
sorry.
forward to
That's
in
okay.
football. So yeah, but we'll move forward, Dave. You two will get through this. I believe. I believe.
Okay. Well, with that, Andy, let's wrap up the pod. We have a lot to talk on Wednesday. We'll have Iowa to respond to, and we'll also have the next round matchup, so we can maybe get into some predictions for the NFL playoffs. But Andy, with that, I will catch up with you next time.